hearing from the mother of Dennis Bodden.
Bodden was the 49-year-old man who was shot and killed by an off-duty Pineville police sergeant after a shoplifting incident at the food line on Johnston Road last month.
That's where we now find our WBTV's Claire Kopsky joining us. So what did we learn from Bodden's mother today?
Well, Siobhan and Jamie, we learned a little bit about his background. First of all, his mother shared with us that he was an attorney who represented those battling mental illness, that he was in the middle of getting a social work master's degree from Columbia University, and that he also battled mental illness himself, and that really picked up during the COVID-19 pandemic. She says that's something that she believes that Pineville police should have known and should have caused them to react differently.
I raised Dennis by myself. Dennis was my life.
Today, a mother pleading for the world to know her son.
He had been experiencing mental health issues that became profound during the isolation of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Cleopatra Bodden shared her son, Dennis Bodden, had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia.
They had him in prison before, in jail before. They released him out knowing that he was ill. I tried to put him in the hospital, but I couldn't because he was an adult.
Dennis had 2 outstanding warrants for felony breaking and entering and felony larceny after breaking and entering at the Johnston Road Food Lion on the day that he was shot and killed after shoplifting. His family believes police should have sent a mental health crisis team to respond on May 14th instead.
And it wasn't him, and I can tell you, we see this, but it was not Dennis. This was a person that we had no idea who he was, because Dennis was not like that. Dennis lived with me, so I know what he was like.
The NAACP said a different approach should have been on Pineville Police's radar.
This was not the first time Pineville Police had interacted with him. They knew that he had already believed that he was at home or he was in his own personal space, just taking his own items. They knew that. It's happened before.
However, in a statement Monday, Pineville Police said they were not aware of any mental health concerns regarding Dennis. They said they only had 1 documented contact with him on April 3rd when he was banned from the same food lion. They also said the Pineville Police Department does not have a mental health unit. Instead, they said the officers who responded are critical incident team certified through Mecklenburg County and trained under ICAT tactics meant to de-escalate.
It's just unbelievable that this could happen. I never ever thought that my family would have any encounter with the police. But it just goes to show no one is exempt.
Bottom line is this: Black Lives Matter too. We have a black man who had an incident, a mental crisis incident, who should have been treated humanely.
Now his mother says her mission is to seek justice.
They shot my son down like a dog. They didn't think about him.
The family tells us that they are looking into pursuing legal action. They also said that nationally recognized civil rights attorney Ben Crump has reached out to them, offering to represent them. Now, I reached out to Pineville Police today, asking if they did have this mental health crisis team. They told us, as you just heard, that they don't have one on staff, but they are looking into one, is what they've told me tonight. They are looking into something very similar to what CMPD has in place, and they're looking into splitting that cost with other towns here in the south side of Mecklenburg County. For now, we're live here in Pineville. I'm Claire Kopsky, WBTV, on your side.
Safe to say there's so much more to come on this story. Claire, thank you. Jamie?